Hey guys, my name is Dr. Paul Quessenberry, and I am a family physician in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Mrs. Truesdale is a friend, and she asked me to talk to you a little bit about concussions and how it would relate to physics. So I understand that there was a dude named Isaac Newton, and back in 1666, he wrote Principia Mathematica Philosophae Naturalis, otherwise known as the Principles of Mathematics and Natural Philosophy. Anyway, they contained the laws of physics, and I'm sure that all of you remember all those laws of physics. Anyway, those laws of physics have a lot to do with how the brain reacts during a concussion. So I'm a family physician, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about what happens to your brain when you have a concussion. So Newton's first law of physics says that when an object is in motion, it tends to remain in motion in a straight line until it's acted on by an outside force. And when you have a concussion, obviously your brain gets acted on by an outside force, and that could be anything. For some of you, that might be a soccer ball, or it could be the metal pole on the playground or whatever, but that object makes your head suddenly stop, and that causes that object to suddenly stop. Now, the third law of physics says that for every action in nature, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that reaction is that your brain suddenly stops. And what happens during a concussion is that your brain is very soft and squishy, and it's stuck inside of your head, and your head is very firm and stiff, and it doesn't move. So most people don't understand what happens, but your brain starts to swell, and just like a muscle would swell when it gets injured, your brain starts to swell, and it's stuck inside of your skull, which doesn't move, and all of the little blood vessels and the nerves that feed the brain get compressed, and that can cause all kinds of symptoms. So what happens when you get a concussion is you start to have headaches, you start to have memory problems, you can become confused, you can have tingling, and you can have dizziness and blurry vision, and many people have trouble sleeping. So there's lots of symptoms, and that's called a post-concussion syndrome. So when that happens, it is really, really important that you stop playing the sport that you're in. In fact, there's been a lot of efforts all over the United States to get people to stop playing sports when they have a concussion, because you need to rest your brain, because sometimes it's not the concussion that causes the problem, it's an injury after the concussion that causes the problem. There's these really horrible things called a second impact syndrome, and that's what causes really significant problems. In fact, many times that's the fatal problem. People die when they get a second hit to their head when their brain is already swollen and unhappy. So the long-term problems that can happen associated with concussion are you can have paralysis, you can have injury to the nerves. If you have a number of concussions, you can actually have permanent injury to the nerves that affect your IQ and your ability to think. And so that it is important to stop playing sports when it happens. It's important to take some time of rest. What we do with people when they get a concussion is we actually remove them from their sport. We also keep students off of school for a while because they often have trouble thinking and paying attention in school. So anyway, that's just a brief summary of what happens with a concussion. So remember, you only get one brain, so you need to take care of it. Your head is a really important thing, so take care of it. So that's a little bit about concussion. Take care of your brain. Thanks, Mrs. Truesdale, for letting me talk with you a little bit. And just remember, an object in motion tends to remain in motion, so your brain's really important. Good luck, guys.